that they're changing my voice. So let's go to Micah 6, verse 7. Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000 rivers of olive oil? Shall I offer my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? So you know them by their fruits, and that also has implications on reproduction, right? So there's spiritual works, there's your works, and there's also who are you dating, who are you reproducing with, and why? Who, what, when, where, how, why? Is it the end? Or is it the beginning or the middle? So you see then in the next verse, it says, He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and walk humbly with your God. To act justly and to love mercy in the boundaries of wisdom and to walk humbly with your God. To embrace justice. To love mercy. So again, what is it that God requires? God requires that people act justly. God requires that people love mercy and walk humbly with God. Oh, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? All right. Okay, so to you, what does justice mean? Can you mind if I record this? I make videos on YouTube about God, about morality, about ending homelessness, things of that nature.
I'm not comfortable right now.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable right now.
All right, thank you. Go ahead. Have a nice day. Anyway. All right, anyway, so that didn't work out, but it happens. Here we go. So again, verse 8. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and walk humbly with your God. Listen, the Lord is calling to the city, and to fear your name is wisdom. Heed the rod and the one who appointed it. Am I still to forget your ill-gotten treasures, you wicked house, the short ephah which is accursed? Shall I acquit someone with dishonest scales, with a bag of false weights? Your rich people are violent. Your inhabitants are liars, and their tongues speak deceitfully. So you see that a huge part of Micah, this is like the core of the book of Micah. It's about ill-gotten treasures. It's about them building Zion with bloodshed, with wickedness. It's about them refusing to do what is morally precise. Therefore, they're creating ill-gotten paths, and they're pursuing ill-gotten treasures, and they're robbing people of their inheritances and things of that nature. So as we think about why people don't understand what justice is and why it's so important, right? If you really understand the concept, you're going to scramble to be just. You're going to scramble to be fair. You're going to scramble to be righteous. Okay, so we go to Micah 7. In Micah 7, God is very angry with the Israelites for not doing the right thing. And it's compared to grapes and figs, that there's no ripe figs and grapes that he likes to eat. There's no choice. The choicest of figs and grapes are missing. So it goes on to say in verse 3, both hands are skilled in doing evil. The ruler demands gifts, the judge accepts bribes, the powerful dictate what they desire. They all conspire together, just like the government and the political groups and the social clubs, and on and on and on. They conspire together. They refuse to do what's right. They refuse to heed wisdom's call. Wisdom's call is calling people to be righteous and just, to be fair, to love the Lord with all their heart, and to love their neighbors by doing them justice, to love their neighbors by being righteous and fair and good. And we see the world's inability to accept this. We see the world's refusal to accept that these ideas are important. These ideas are sacred. These ideas are divine. The word divine is like the word diving. The falcon diving. The falcon, the symbol of righteousness and truth. associated with the sun. The falcon, a symbol of justice, a symbol of Horus, a symbol of Jesus, the wings and the angels, the birds, the heavens, right? The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands. The warrior hands of God, the sacred and holy warrior hands of God. Calling people to put on the armor of God. And so often people bring it up, but they bring it up in a way that's cheesy and false. And the government tries to make my job a lot more difficult. My job in terms, I don't get paid for this or something, my job in terms of serving God. What God requires of me. Obeying God's commands. They make it harder for me to masterfully convey God's commands. Now today they kind of, it wasn't as bad as a lot of days. Last time I was here was really bad. It was really bad. I had a moment where I got very angry because they were targeting me so heavily for doing God's work. They were targeting me so heavily for loving God. They were targeting me so heavily because with my heart, I obey God with all my heart. And the word martial is marital scrambled, as in marriage. And Christ is the bridegroom, Psalm 19. And I am Christ, the top martial artist, the one God set apart as his very own. God said, today I've become your father. Today, like when you were born, you are the top martial artist, the one who is set apart in the warrior spirit of God to masterfully convey the righteous strikes of God, the righteous message of God, the spiritual warfare of God, the spiritual truths of God, what it means to truly have love from God, the precepts, the concepts, without the con, trying to get people to consent without the con men, without people being conniving and condescending, but walking humbly with God in the true spirit of God. As we see people fail to scramble for a precise and logical plan to end poverty, we see that they're asking the devil to punish them, because one who's slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. They're assisting the destroyer in breaking down their society, their cities, their groups, their peoples, their families. One must honor God. One must serve God. The word deserve is a play on words for day serve, as opposed to Dagon, aka Dagon, one of the enemies of God, a deity of the Philistines and other pagan groups at the time. Whether it is Chemosh or Baal or Dagon, whether it is Asherah or Nebo, whether it is Rephan or Zeus or Jupiter, the enemies of God are trampled. The enemies of God are mere rebels. They build on the rebel spirit. That's why the word rebel is like the word Baal, the main enemy of God in the Bible and Kings. The followers of Baal, waging war against Elijah, and by default Elisha and the Messiah. Do they honor God? Do they choose to be righteous and just? The word deserve is a play on words for day serve. Anyone who doesn't deserve God doesn't deserve good things. Because with your one life to live, God put you here to do the works of God. Not to be self-centered, not to be selfish, but to willingly choose to do the work of God. To willingly choose to serve God and to love God. Let's just leave it here.